Life demands so much from us, our time, our attention, and most importantly, our energy. But not all energy is created equal, and not every moment is worth investing in. Today, let's talk about 5 places where you should never waste your energy. Energy is one of our most precious resources, and yet we often overlook its value. We give it away freely to situations, people, and habits that don't deserve it, leaving us drained and overwhelmed. The truth is, we cannot afford to waste our energy. It's sacred. Once spent, it cannot be replenished in the same way, and every moment we allow ourselves to be exhausted by external forces, we are robbing ourselves of our potential. Imagine your energy as a currency. Every decision, every interaction, every moment you live costs you something. You wouldn't spend your money carelessly, so why would you spend your energy on things that don't add value to your life? Just like any resource, it should be treated with care and intention. Every time you make a choice, ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? This is not a question of guilt or judgment. It's a call to be mindful of how you're investing yourself in the world around you. When you recognize the sacredness of your energy, you begin to realize that not everything is worthy of it. Some things, people, or situations are energy drains that take from you without ever giving back. Have you ever left a conversation or interaction feeling completely exhausted, even if it wasn't physically demanding? That's the power of emotional energy, the way certain dynamics can subtly sap your strength, your peace, and your clarity. Being mindful of these interactions is key to protecting your energy. Guarding your energy doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world or becoming disconnected. It means being intentional about where you direct your focus. When you choose to engage in relationships, situations, and projects, ask yourself whether they bring you joy, growth, or fulfillment. If they don't, you have every right to step away. This doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. You cannot pour from an empty cup. To give to others, you must first ensure that you are filled up. And this starts by protecting your energy. Another key part of guarding your energy is learning how to say no. No to commitments that don't serve you. No to toxic environments. No to expectations that are not aligned with your truth. The fear of disappointing others often holds us back from setting boundaries, but the truth is, your well-being should always come first. Saying no is a form of self-respect, an acknowledgement that your energy is valuable, and it's something you are choosing to use wisely. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to be pulled in a million directions, constantly running on empty, trying to meet everyone's needs, and keeping up with every demand. But when we let ourselves be stretched too thin, we lose touch with our inner selves. We stop feeling grounded. We stop feeling aligned. Our energy becomes fragmented, and instead of thriving, we simply survive. When you protect your energy, you start to reconnect with your inner strength. You remember who you are, what you value, and what truly matters. Guarding your energy is an act of self-love. It's a recognition that you are worthy of being fully present for the things and people who bring you joy, who help you grow, and who support you on your journey. It's about choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and authenticity over approval. When you protect your energy, you honor your true self. And in doing so, you create the space for the life you were meant to live. People-pleasing is a behavior that many of us have been conditioned to adopt, whether through family dynamics, societal expectations, or personal insecurities. For years, we are taught that to be loved, accepted, or valued, we must constantly meet the needs and desires of others. We learn to mold ourselves into whatever shape is required to ensure others are happy or satisfied. But in this process, we lose ourselves. The energy we expend on pleasing others can come at the cost of our own well-being, our authenticity, and our sense of self-worth. People-pleasing stems from a deep desire for approval. The fear of rejection, judgment, or conflicting push us to say yes to things we don't truly want or agree with simply to avoid discomfort. We convince ourselves that by keeping others happy, we will be loved or accepted in return. But the reality is, people-pleasing never brings lasting fulfillment. The praise or recognition we get is often fleeting, and even worse, we may begin to feel resentment or exhaustion from the constant effort to maintain this facade. We end up pouring so much energy into others that there is little left for ourselves. Letting go of people-pleasing is about shifting the focus from external validation to internal self-acceptance. It means recognizing that our worth does not come from how well we can serve or please others, but from who we are at our core. We must learn to love ourselves fully and set boundaries that honor our needs and values. Saying no doesn't make us bad people. It makes us people who value our time, our energy, and our own emotional health. It's about choosing authenticity over the false sense of connection that comes from trying to be everything to everyone. One of the most powerful realizations is that not everyone will like us, and that's okay. We are not meant to be universally adored, and we don't need to be. Our true people, those who align with our values, support our growth, and accept us as we are, will love us without the need for constant validation. The idea that we need to please others to be worthy of love or friendship is a myth. Real relationships are built on mutual respect, honesty, and the freedom to be ourselves, not on the need to fit into someone else's mold. Letting go of people-pleasing also means accepting that we will disappoint others sometimes. The fear of disappointing people can be paralyzing, but it's a reality of life. We cannot possibly meet everyone's needs all the time, and attempting to do so will only drain us emotionally and physically. Instead, we can learn to navigate these situations with grace and kindness, understanding that we are not responsible for other people's happiness. It's not our job to fix everyone or to make everyone like us. We are only responsible for our own actions, feelings, and choices. To let go of people-pleasing is an act of self-empowerment. It is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your sense of self. It is about choosing to live life on your own terms and setting boundaries that align with your own needs, desires, and values. It's uncomfortable at first because we are so used to putting others first, but over time it becomes liberating. When you stop trying to please everyone, you can start living authentically, creating deeper and more meaningful connections, and allowing yourself the freedom to be who you truly are. You are worthy of love and respect, just as you are not for what you can do for others, but for your unique and irreplaceable self. In life, we are often confronted with challenges, conflicts, and struggles that can easily pull us in, leaving us feeling responsible for solving problems that may not even be ours to fix. We may feel compelled to jump in and fight other people's battles, either out of a desire to help or a fear of conflict. But this can come at a significant cost to our own well-being. It's easy to become emotionally entangled in situations where we have no real control or influence, only to find ourselves drained and overwhelmed by the energy we invest in them. Learning when to step back and stop fighting battles that aren't ours is crucial for preserving our peace, focus, and emotional strength. The first thing to recognize is that we cannot fix everything or everyone. We may wish we could, especially when we see others struggling, but stepping into battles that don't belong to us only diverts our attention from our own personal growth and journey. Sometimes our instinct to help can be a result of our own insecurities or a need to feel needed. We might believe that if we don't step in, we're abandoning someone, or that their pain will somehow reflect badly on us. But by taking on battles that aren't ours, we are choosing to put someone else's struggles ahead of our own emotional health. And this only leads to burnout and frustration. It's important to recognize the difference between offering support and becoming responsible for the outcome. Supporting someone in their struggle is different from absorbing the weight of their struggle as if it were our own. If we constantly intervene in other people's battles, we risk losing sight of our own priorities and goals. We end up sacrificing our time, energy, and focus, only to find that the issues we've tried to solve don't resolve or aren't ours to solve in the first place. Fighting other people's battles can enable unhealthy patterns of dependency. When we consistently intervene, we may unintentionally teach others that they don't need to take responsibility for their own problems. We may believe we're helping by solving their issues for them, but in reality, we're preventing them from learning how to handle challenges on their own. People are capable of growth and change, but they need the space to navigate their own struggles and find their own solutions. By stepping aside and allowing others to take responsibility for their own battles, we give them the opportunity to grow, learn, and build resilience. It's vital to understand that not every conflict is ours to resolve. There are times when we may feel emotionally pulled into situations, whether with friends, family, or coworkers, but we must ask ourselves, is this my battle to fight? Is this something I can truly change or control? If the answer is no, it's okay to step back and release the need to engage. Letting go of this need doesn't mean abandoning the person in need. It simply means allowing them the space to handle their own journey. We can still offer compassion and support without carrying the emotional weight of their struggles. When we stop fighting battles that aren't ours, we reclaim our own energy and focus. We allow ourselves to prioritize our own needs, dreams, and growth, which ultimately strengthens us to face the battles that truly belong to us. It's a powerful act of self-care to recognize when to step away and say, this is not mine to fix. We can be compassionate without sacrificing our own peace. By protecting our energy and boundaries, we create space for ourselves to thrive and to support others in healthy, balanced ways without losing ourselves in the process. Perfectionism is a constant companion for many of us, a voice that tells us we must do everything flawlessly or we are not good enough. It pushes us to meet impossible standards, both in ourselves and in others, creating a never-ending cycle of stress, frustration, and self-criticism. It often begins in childhood, where we are taught that excellence is the only measure of our worth, and we internalize this belief into adulthood. Over time, this need to be perfect becomes a heavy burden, limiting our ability to take risks, embrace our imperfections, and find joy in the process of growth. Perfectionism is rooted in fear, the fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of not measuring up. It convinces us that if we can just do everything perfectly, we will avoid rejection, gain approval, or prove our worth. But the truth is, perfectionism is a trap. The pursuit of perfection can only lead to exhaustion and dissatisfaction, because perfection is an illusion. There is no such thing as perfect. Everything is subjective, ever-changing, and ultimately unattainable. Striving for something that doesn't exist only leaves us feeling inadequate, no matter how hard we try. Releasing perfectionism requires us to redefine what success and accomplishment truly mean. It's about shifting from an external measure of worth to an internal one, from focusing solely on the outcome to embracing the journey. When we accept that we don't need to be perfect to be valuable, we begin to free ourselves from the constant pressure to perform. Instead of aiming for an idealized version of ourselves or our work, we can allow ourselves to show up as we are with all our flaws, mistakes, and imperfections. This is where real growth happens. Perfectionism also keeps us stuck in fear. We avoid taking risks or trying new things because we are terrified of not doing them perfectly. We procrastinate, overthink, and delay decisions, all in an attempt to avoid failure. But in doing so, we miss out on opportunities to learn, grow, and evolve. Releasing perfectionism means embracing the possibility of failure as a natural part of the process. It's the willingness to try, to fail, to learn from those failures, and to try again. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we open ourselves up to the beauty of imperfection, the messiness of growth, the lessons that come from mistakes, and the joy of progress rather than perfection. Another key aspect of releasing perfectionism is learning to be kinder to ourselves. Perfectionists are often their own harshest critics. Every mistake becomes a reflection of our inadequacy, every flaw a mark of failure. But when we recognize that our worth is not tied to our performance, we begin to treat ourselves with the compassion and understanding we deserve. We are human, and being human means we will make mistakes. But those mistakes do not define us. They are simply opportunities to learn and grow. Perfectionism also isolates us. It creates an environment where we believe we must do everything alone, that asking for help or showing vulnerability is a sign of weakness. Yet none of us can do everything perfectly, and needing support is a natural part of being human. Releasing perfectionism means allowing ourselves to be supported by others, to ask for help when needed, and to let go of the illusion that we must do it all on our own. It means recognizing that collaboration, connection, and shared experience are more important than perfection. Releasing perfectionism is liberating. It's about freeing ourselves from the suffocating grip of unrealistic standards and embracing the freedom to be imperfect. It's about accepting that we are worthy of love, success, and fulfillment, not because we are flawless, but because we are authentic, resilient, and ever evolving. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we give ourselves the gift of self-compassion, self-acceptance, and ultimately the freedom to live a life that is not defined by unattainable ideals, but by the beautiful, messy reality of being human. Negative self-talk is one of the most insidious habits we can fall into. It's that internal voice that tells us we're not good enough, that we can't succeed, or that we don't deserve happiness or success. This voice often emerges in moments of vulnerability, fear, or self-doubt, and it can be incredibly loud and convincing. Over time, negative self-talk becomes a pattern, a destructive cycle that chips away at our confidence, undermines our self-worth, and creates a constant state of mental turmoil. It is a habit that, while common, is incredibly damaging to our mental and emotional well-being. The truth is, our thoughts shape our reality. What we believe about ourselves influences how we show up in the world, how we interact with others, and how we pursue our dreams. When we constantly engage in negative self-talk, we reinforce limiting beliefs that keep us stuck in a mindset of scarcity, fear, and inadequacy. We start to see ourselves through a distorted lens, focusing on our flaws, mistakes, and shortcomings instead of our strengths, potential, and progress. This distorted thinking doesn't serve us, it only holds us back from being the best version of ourselves. To break free from negative self-talk, we must first become aware of it. Often, this type of thinking operates on autopilot, quietly influencing our decisions, emotions, and actions without us even realizing it. We may have spent years hearing these critical voices in our heads, and over time, we start to accept them as truth. The first step in overcoming negative self-talk is to catch it in the act. Start paying attention to the thoughts that arise when you feel challenged, insecure, or anxious. Notice the patterns and the language you use. Are you telling yourself that you're a failure? That you'll never be good enough? Recognizing these thoughts is the first step towards shifting them. Once you've become aware of negative self-talk, the next step is to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Most of the time, you'll find that the negative thoughts you have about yourself are exaggerated, unfounded, or simply not based on reality. For instance, when you make a mistake, the voice in your head might say you always mess things up. You're not cut out for this, but is that really true? Of course not. Everyone makes mistakes. They're part of learning and growing. Challenging the truth of these thoughts allows us to see them for what they are: nothing more than unhelpful, distorted beliefs. Another powerful tool in overcoming negative self-talk is to replace it with positive, empowering affirmations. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," try saying, "I am worthy of success and love, and I am doing my best." Replacing negative thoughts with affirmations helps to rewire your brain to focus on the positive aspects of yourself and your life. This doesn't mean ignoring your flaws or pretending that everything is perfect, but rather shifting the focus towards self-compassion, growth, and self-empowerment. When you speak kindly to yourself, you start to believe in your own worth and abilities. It's also important to remember that overcoming negative self-talk is a process, not a one-time fix. It takes time to unlearn the patterns of self-criticism that have been ingrained in us over the years. You won't silence the inner critic overnight, but with practice, you can replace the harsh, judgmental voices with ones that are supportive, encouraging, and realistic. The more you engage in positive self-talk, the stronger those positive thoughts become, and the less power negative self-talk will have over you. Surround yourself with positive influences. The people we spend time with, the media we consume, and the environments we inhabit all shape our mindset. If we are constantly exposed to negativity, whether it's from others or from our own inner dialogue, it can be difficult to break free. Seek out people who uplift and encourage you. Create a space that fosters positivity and growth. The more you surround yourself with positive energy, the easier it will be to replace the negative voices in your head with ones that inspire and motivate you. Learning to stop engaging in negative self-talk is an act of self-love and self-respect. It's a recognition that you are worthy of kindness, compassion, and encouragement, especially from yourself. When you stop letting the negative voices define you, you open yourself up to the possibility of living a life filled with confidence, joy, and possibility. You are not your mistakes or flaws. You are a work in progress, deserving of grace and capable of achieving far more than you realize. By shifting your inner dialogue, you can unlock your full potential and step into a life that reflects your true worth. Chasing external validation is a habit many of us fall into without even realizing it. We seek approval, recognition, and praise from others to feel worthy, loved, or accepted. This can manifest in many ways, whether through social media likes, compliments from peers, or the approval of family and friends. While external validation can feel good in the moment, it is ultimately fleeting and unreliable. It can create an endless cycle where we rely on others to define our worth, leading us to become disconnected from our true selves and our intrinsic value. The constant need for validation from the outside world can leave us feeling empty, anxious, and unfulfilled because at its core, external validation is never enough. It's like chasing a moving target that we can never quite reach. The first step in stopping the chase for external validation is understanding that our worth does not come from others' opinions. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we must prove ourselves to others in order to be valuable. We may have grown up in environments where praise or recognition was tied to our achievements, making us believe that our worth is contingent on meeting certain standards or expectations. But the truth is, your value is inherent. It is not determined by the approval of others, but by who you are, what you stand for, and the choices you make. Recognizing that your worth is not dependent on external factors frees you from the exhausting pursuit of others' opinions. In a world where we are constantly connected and constantly exposed to other people's lives through social media, it's easy to compare ourselves to others. This comparison trap can amplify our need for validation as we measure our success, appearance, and life circumstances against those of others. But comparison only fuels insecurity. It creates a false sense of competition and convinces us that we are not enough as we are. The truth is, everyone's journey is unique, and no one else's life can be a true reflection of your own worth or success. When we stop comparing ourselves to others and begin to embrace our individuality, we can find the peace that comes with knowing we are enough exactly as we are. The real challenge in stopping the chase for external validation is learning to validate ourselves. Self-validation is about recognizing your own worth and acknowledging your accomplishments without needing anyone else's approval. It involves being your own biggest supporter, trusting your abilities, and honoring your feelings. When you learn to validate yourself, you stop looking for external cues to confirm that you are worthy or valuable. You recognize your own power, your own accomplishments, and your own progress. This creates a deep sense of inner confidence and self-assurance that does not depend on anyone else's opinion. Another key to stopping the chase for external validation is to let go of the fear of judgment. The need for validation often stems from a fear of rejection or criticism. We worry about what others think of us, and this fear can dictate our decisions, actions, and even our sense of self-worth. But the truth is, we can never control what others think. People's opinions are shaped by their own experiences, beliefs, and insecurities. The judgment we fear may have nothing to do with us at all. Learning to let go of the need for external approval allows us to live authentically, true to ourselves, without the weight of others' expectations bearing down on us. The freedom that comes with stopping the chase for external validation is profound. When we stop seeking approval from the outside, we begin to find contentment and fulfillment within ourselves. We stop measuring our success by how others see us and instead begin to measure it by how we feel about ourselves and the choices we make. We no longer need to seek validation through accomplishments, appearances, or possessions, because we recognize that we are worthy simply for being ourselves. When we stop chasing external validation, we become more present, more connected to our own desires, and more aligned with our true purpose. We create space to pursue what genuinely makes us happy, without worrying about how others will perceive it. This shift allows us to live with greater authenticity, peace, and self-empowerment, ultimately leading to a life that feels more fulfilling and grounded in who we are, not in who others think we should be. The need for control is something many of us experience, often without realizing the toll it takes on our lives. It's a natural human instinct to want to feel secure, to protect ourselves from uncertainty, and to shape our environments according to our desires. We tend to believe that if we can control the outcomes of situations, we can avoid discomfort, failure, or pain. However, this constant striving for control can be exhausting and counterproductive. It can create unnecessary stress, hinder our growth, and leave us feeling drained and frustrated when things don't go as planned. The truth is, we can never control everything. And when we let go of the need for control, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of peace and freedom. The desire for control often arises from fear of the unknown, fear of failure, or fear of being vulnerable. We want things to go a certain way, and when they don't, we feel unsettled. But life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to micromanage every aspect of it only leads to frustration and disappointment. There will always be factors beyond our control, from other people's actions to unforeseen events. And when we try to hold on to control over things that we simply cannot influence, we are setting ourselves up for constant anxiety. Accepting that uncertainty is a part of life allows us to release the pressure we place on ourselves and find comfort in the unknown. Letting go of the need for control also means embracing the idea of surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in recognizing that we can't always dictate the course of our lives. Sometimes we have to trust the process and allow things to unfold in their own time. This doesn't mean being passive or complacent, but rather accepting that there is a balance between doing our part and allowing space for life to flow naturally. When we let go of rigid expectations and accept that things may not go as planned, we create room for unexpected opportunities, growth, and creative solutions to emerge. Life has a way of surprising us when we stop trying to force it into a specific mold. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go of control is learning to trust ourselves and others. Many of us hold on to control because we don't trust that things will work out unless we are the ones steering the ship. We may doubt our own ability to handle challenges or fear that others won't meet our standards. However, when we let go of control, we allow ourselves to trust that we are capable of navigating whatever comes our way, even if the path is unclear. We also begin to trust others to take responsibility for their actions, and we stop feeling the need to manage every aspect of their lives. Trusting the process, our own abilities, and the people around us frees us from the mental and emotional burden of control. When we release control, we become more adaptable and resilient. Life rarely unfolds exactly as we expect, and when we hold tightly to rigid expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we learn to let go of the need for control, we are better equipped to handle life's twists and turns. We can face challenges with a sense of flexibility, knowing that even if things don't go as planned, we will adapt and find new ways to move forward. This adaptability allows us to live with greater ease, knowing that we don't need to control everything to be okay. Letting go of control also means allowing ourselves to experience life fully. When we are constantly preoccupied with managing every detail, we miss out on the beauty of spontaneity, joy, and surprise. Life is richer when we allow ourselves to be present, to let go of the need to control every moment, and to embrace whatever comes our way with an open heart. It's in these moments of surrender that we often find the most profound experiences of connection, growth, and happiness. Releasing the need for control is an act of trust and surrender to life itself. It's about recognizing that we don't need to have everything figured out to find peace. So we don't need to control the outcome of every situation to live fully. Letting go of control is not about weakness. It's about strength, courage, and the willingness to embrace life as it comes unpredictable, messy, and beautiful. When we let go, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth, freedom, and a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us.